Episode 4.
Episode number 4.
Yep.
You know, I was thinking about, I've done a few things on camera, you know, kind of been a company spokesman, but I don't know, I'm just not used to being in front of the camera that much. So I was just thinking about some things that I could work on. I wrote some things down. One of the things I think I could do better on these podcasts would be for me to just relax a little bit and ask you questions a little more, you know, just have it kind of be...
Make it more about me.
Well, yeah, of course we want that to happen, but just do a little bit better job, you know, listening, asking questions. And then I think one of the reasons that maybe I don't come across nervous, but I think one of the reasons I get a little nervous is because I'm not behind the camera that much. I'm usually, if I've spent 30 years in radio, no camera basically on me. I get a little bit nervous. We talk about this sometimes that you're a little nervous, so I'm a little nervous for you.
Thanks.
I'm
Appreciate
double
that.
nervous. I'm nervous for both of us sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's sometimes hard because, as we've talked, you have lots of good insight and stuff like that. And some people might watch and they might think, oh, you know, Hudson doesn't do a lot of talking. Todd does a lot of the talking. And I prefer that because I'm not in no way am I a voiceover expert. I've only been in it for 1 year. And so I like to listen to you talk because I'm also learning the stuff that you're saying to them, that stuff you're teaching me. Yeah. So I try to stay away from any sort of, hey, this is what you should do, because who am I to say what goes? You know, obviously I can say things that I'm working on because those are things you're teaching me.
Yeah, right.
Those are things you've learned from Bill DeWees and stuff like that. So far be it from me to, so that's one thing that I try to stay away from, is giving out all sorts of
advice,
stuff like that, because I'm just I'm not in a space where I should be giving that out freely, because I don't know if I'd be able to help that many people out. So
it seems like one of the things you do well at is saying that regularly, and that's kind of giving advice in a kind of backdoor way, because what you're saying is, and I see this a lot in the industry, is that there's so many people out there giving advice, and they've been in it for a year or two, and they can certainly give advice. That's fine. Anybody can learn from anybody. So that's not a problem so much, but you give the advice basically that
I shouldn't be giving advice,
which is pretty good. I was thinking too that one of the things that I think about is, and I got to do better with this, because being in radio for 30 years, everything was more scripted and produced.
Sure.
And dead air was like, you can't have dead air. If you have dead air, people are going to stop listening. They're going to think something's wrong. They're going to call the station, which happened sometimes when your record didn't play or some announcement didn't. So sometimes having it be a little bit more relaxed and natural, casual, where there's a little bit of dead air, where we think, you know.
And it's okay for that to happen sometimes, because sometimes you don't always know what to say right away. And you're just sitting there looking kind of dumb. And, well, that's kind of just how it is. Yeah. So I could probably work at livening up my voice a little bit more, and maybe also not saying,
Yeah, I say, you know.
Yeah, I can get into that.
Yeah.
So,
well, we've got some work to do. There's no doubt about it, but it's just our fourth. I think we're getting a tad.
Who we are.
I think we're getting a tad bit better. I mean, as far as the people, I guess, will have to.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, they say, no,
please.
You're not getting better.
Yeah,
you're going backwards, maybe. Anyway, I was just thinking about how we needed to evaluate a little bit. We'll continue to do that.
Yeah, maybe people will tell us, you know, you got to work on stuff like that.
Yeah.
Help us out. Please do.
Yeah.
What do we got going on?
Well, let's see. I'm going to share some tips coming up about kind of to charge or not to charge. That is the question when it comes to minor client revisions or additions, because that's kind of a sticky point. And I haven't come up with a conclusion, and maybe some other people have that will be listening today, and we can get their advice and opinion too.
Yeah, we also had Randy Scott for our interview. He'll be our second segment, and you'll be able to see all what happens there. And then we've also got our numbers, as always. Yeah. My numbers, your numbers. Yeah. John and possibly Drew will be here for the last segment, and you'll be able to see them on our couch cam. We finally got another camera, so they won't be a floating voice anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had to mortgage the house and sell some cars and stuff, but at least we have that couch cam now, so that's definitely nice.
Yeah. Well, let's get to it.
Hey, this is Bill DeWees, pro voiceover talent and voiceover career coach. And this is the original Father-Son Voiceover Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the fourth episode of the original Father-Son Voiceover Podcast, where father and son talk about all things voiceover and a little bit more. Yeah. So this is our first segment, and what we usually do is have our Todd's Tips. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about your Todd's Tips?
I will, but I also had this in mind that we have these beautiful new cups.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Turn yours around
here.
a little bit. No,
see that?
I was way ahead of everything else. Yeah, this is from the VO merch store. So if you remember last week, or maybe you weren't here last week, this is from our friend Mike Hathcote, who is a professional skateboarder, does semi-pro demos, and he also is a full-time voiceover. Did I say that?
Yeah, well, yeah, and like you said, he looked all over for some merchandise that would kind of honor voiceover, and he couldn't find any.
Nothing.
So he started his own company.
So we have our coffee mugs. So we will be showcasing those. If you have any desire to get some clothing, shirts, jackets, all sorts of different apparel, stuff like that, or these, go to vomerch.com and they are there. So check it out.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so to charge or not to charge, that's the question. When it comes to minor client revisions, I know that can be, I wasn't tremendously busy again this week, and then just last night and today, the floodgates. And everybody's feeling it around here because we all have to jump into our editing and assisting roles and things like that when I get super busy. But invariably, is that the word I'm looking for? Inevitably, something like that. It almost always happens that when you're really, really busy, then that's when your clients come back and they want revisions. And that's just kind of the nature of the beast, especially if you've been busy. And I've learned this, if you've been busy like 2-3 weeks prior, like I had a 8,000, 7,000, 7,000 week 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, well, those projects are going to, kind of come back.
Well, and you got busy. You were busy this morning. And then it's just like, it doesn't just stop there. It gets even more busy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So which is just like, you're like, I've already got a full slate. And then it's like, I've got even more. It's just bulging, anyway. That's just,
and these are
which
all,
I don't have that. So.
Yeah, at this point. And these are all direct email marketing clients for the most part. So glad about that. But to charge or not to charge, that is the question. I think it was Shakespeare that said something like that, but not a voiceover type thing. But some people have like a solid, specific, this is always what I do when any and all clients come for revisions. This is my voiceover policy, they say. And I say, good on you. Good for you. If you have that and you want to stick with that, that's just fine. You do you. But on the other hand, I've never been able to come up with a solid, specific, one-size-fits-all revision process. I don't know exactly what you do. Maybe you're so new into the game. If you always charge or if you...
Yeah, I can talk about that. Yeah, I honestly, I don't. If the client, especially with like Fiverr, so I'm trying to carve out a swath with that. So I very rarely, because to me, getting the order completed and getting a 5-star rating is more important than, at least right now, the money. That'll come later. But when it comes, with Fiverr, if someone were to say, well, we're willing to pay for, the revisions, especially if it's something that they brought, it wasn't something that I got wrong, they're willing to pay for it. Then of course I'll jump on that, because why wouldn't I? But especially with my email marketing clients, I don't mention that unless if they mention it, then I do, because I'm new to it and stuff like that. So maybe as time goes on, I'll get better and I'll just say, nope, that's one thing where I can actually say, nope, I know, kind of my price, and I know that I'm worth it. So you're going to pay me for the revisions, because that's just what you do. So some people might say, no, even though you're new to it and stuff like that, you should still set that precedent.
Stand your ground. Yeah, right.
So I just don't right now, unless they say it. Anyway.
Yeah, and I do realize that, I realize it more than, or just as much as any of you who are full-time voiceover talent, that revisions cost my company time and thus money. And so, I just can't afford, some people say, I can't afford to be handing out free time / money. Or I also realize that some clients can take advantage of us.
True.
And their client, their end client, can take advantage of them. In other words, if they don't kind of put their foot down and you don't put your foot down for them, so that their client doesn't say, well, I can keep coming back and back and back. So it could be the end client of like the video production company. So I understand that sometimes you got to, put the old parameters, kind of stand your ground, draw a line in the sand. I get that. I also realize that some clients want and expect a revision policy. Almost every time, a lot of times my clients will say, especially my regular clients will say, well, charge us what you normally charge or whatever. That said, I have a tendency, and again, you might disagree with this, you might have a different policy, and I wouldn't mind hearing some discussion about that. You have a little bit of a different mindset because you're new. I'm 12 years in, and so maybe I could get away with putting my foot down and maybe lose a client here or there where I say, okay, but I still kind of feel my way through each situation. Here's an example. I'll give you a real life example of this. A client, now listen, see if you can follow this. A client from November 2021, so just last November, who used me again in early April. So 2 times. It was a new client in 2021. They used me a second time, and they paid me $300 each time. So, wow. And they were just like 2-minute videos, so it was great. But they had a 2-sentence revision. And I decided, what do you think I decided?
I think you, did you decide to have them pay you, or did you, because they already paid you fairly well for that, did you just say, you know what, it's worth it to keep them coming around. I don't want to burn a bridge with them, so I'll do that. 2 sentences. I'll do that for you guys. Yeah,
that's what I decided. And that's why I'm talking about feeling your way through a little bit. I decided to do that 2-sentence revision for, quote, free. Why? Because they were a new client. They've used me twice just in the last few months. I know they're going to use me more. I just know it. I can feel it. I don't know how to describe that. Our interactions. And I decided not to charge just because I thought that was kind of a goodwill indication that, hey, we're a partnership. We're a team here. I'm trying to help you look good for your end client. So that's what I decided. And so here's just some things to think about. And I won't go a tremendously long time here, but at that point in the week, I think it was Tuesday, it had been quite a slow week. And the temptation is for me, get $25 at least. Sure. You want to get your numbers up there. You don't want to have a bad week. And so I was tempted to charge, and he even said, feel free to charge.
Oh, okay.
So he expected to be charged, even said so. That said, I didn't, because he's easy to work with and pays well. He's used me twice in just a few months, and I just felt it was right. And like I said before, I think it'll pay off. I'll come back and tell you, but I'll almost bet, just being in it for this long, I'll almost bet that I gained more of a friendship with him, where he felt like, hey, this guy's willing to do some things and not having to always be paid. So again, you might disagree. You might be right if you disagree. And I'd like to hear comments or questions, concerns, other thoughts. I just have a little bit more of a fluid revision policy. Just kind of, I get to know the people. And if I start to feel like they're taking advantage of me or they're not a good client, and I maybe even want to put some obstacles in their way, seriously, then I say, you know what, it's going to, I'm going to charge you this. And if they go, I don't like that, well, I'm not exactly hunky-dory with working with you. And so this is a way to see if you're willing to work with me.
And is that kind of back to, as I'm trying to kind of filter through some of those comments, is that back to when you said, some people might disagree with you, and that's back to your business is none of my business.
Yeah, right.
And your business is none of their business. If you want to do it that way, great. If I want to do it the way, you just know what you think. It's kind of a case-by-case scenario. You feel it out and you say, okay, I think this is right for this. And somebody else might not. And that's great. If they got that money for that, wonderful. They thought that was, they felt that was right. So it doesn't, once again, it's not always, it varies business to business.
Yeah. Yeah. I would always say this as a caveat. Your business is your business. It's none of my business. That said, how could I not have an opinion? Because I've been doing it for a long time. And I think the way I do it is right. Not across the board, that is, never have a policy or not stand up for yourself or not watch out for people that might take advantage of you, on and on and on. Other people decide, nope, I've got this policy. This is how it's always going to be. And so I think there's some talking that can be done, but I just wonder if thinking through those types of things and having a little bit more flexibility might be a good idea.
Interesting. Is that all you got for that one? Okay,
that's it.
Awesome.
Short and sweet.
Hard to beat.
Finally.
Yeah. Well, next segment, we have Randy Scott as our interview for the week. So stay tuned for that.
Hey, how you doing? This is Todd, and I'm glad you're part of the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast. We'll get back to more of the podcast in just a second. I just wanted to tell you about another company that I'm a part of. It's a company that I helped start with my 6 adult sons called VO Marketing Pro. VO Marketing Pro, or VOMP, is just simply a company that helps market, especially direct email marketing for voiceover talent, maybe somebody just like you. And if you want to find out more about it, all you have to do is just look below. There are links. There's a phone number there, and there's all sorts of information out there on the internet. Just Google VO Marketing Pro, and you'll get our YouTube page, our Facebook page, our website, and you can check us out. So make sure you do that. And now let's get back to more of the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast. We had the pleasure this week of interviewing our friend Randy Scott, who, as we talked about before, he is a morning radio show host. He is also a full-time professional voiceover, and he is part of our VOMP group.
Yeah, and just an all-around nice guy, as you'll find out.
Yeah. So we will not
take any more time.
We won't. So here he is.
Randy.
Is that Todd Barsmith?
That is, yes, that is the man, the myth, and the legend.
There he is.
Is my head cut off? Kinda?
A little bit.
You're a little bit scalped.
Let me check here. Sorry. Technologically challenged at my age. Better.
Yeah, a lot better.
Not that you want to see more of my head, but I've got a
There's
face for radio.
There's the full Todd effect
Yep.
we've been waiting for.
Yeah. So how are you doing, Randy?
I'm well. How's everybody in your house?
Doing good. Very well.
Good.
Yeah. We've got cold weather here in Wisconsin. We're waiting for it to break. We've got about another, 3 or 4 days, Hudson, I think, and then it's going to be like 70, and it'll bounce back down a little bit here and there until we get to May, but then we'll find. How about you guys? What's the weather like? You're in Maryland?
I am. Yep. I'm on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, and we've had, I think it's like a lot of people are saying, like, you don't just wait a little longer if you don't like the weather. It's kind of like that here where you'll have a nice, like yesterday was beautiful. Today's a little cool and we're supposed to get some rain, and then hopefully we're 70 and above till the fall soon, but we'll see.
Good.
Yeah.
Tell us, Hudson's got some questions for you, but tell us a little bit about where exactly are you located? I mean, help those of us that haven't been in that area get a little sense of, where you actually live.
So a lot of people, I actually went to school in the Midwest, so I'm very trained in the Midwest. People thinking that Maryland is part of New England, which it is not. It is Mid-Atlantic.
Okay.
I'm in Salisbury, Maryland, which is about 30 minutes in a drive to Ocean City, Maryland, which is right on the beach, which is a great beach area, and the Delaware beaches aren't far for us. So we're between the ocean and the Chesapeake Bay is where I am.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have a guest room for any Barsness that wants to come east. So
how far are you from Charlotte, North Carolina?
in a plane? No. We're about 6 hours, and our airport, Charlotte, is one of two cities it flies to, Charlotte and Philadelphia. So you could do either, but we're not terribly far from Charlotte. It's 5.5, 6 hours.
Yeah.
Depending on who's driving.
Well, you might have just welcomed some of us to come. We might just actually show up, because we've talked about showing up to different VO Marketing Pro people just to visit them and see how they're doing and touching base with them. And my second oldest son, Drew, works for an insurance company. He's a bonds guy, and he has the Charlotte, North Carolina, South Carolina area. So he flies down there a couple times a year. And so we're not that far from you if we're in that area, at least.
Sounds good. Come and see me. You're always welcome.
Thanks.
What you were talking about the weather? Is it does it stay pretty moderate there? Like you said, into the 70s until fall. Does it get up real hot, or does it usually stay pretty?
Yeah, we have all four seasons. They're a little sporadic at times, sometimes unseasonable during those seasons. But we get hot, we get cold, we get some snow. We're in a unique spot where I am that the snow will usually hit the Chesapeake Bay if it's coming from the west to the east and kind of break up and get into rain. But if it's coming from the south, we usually get slammed. We'll get one or two pretty good snowstorms a year, nothing compared to what you guys endure. But I would say we're pretty mild climate for the most part. We do get pretty humid in the summer. But yeah, we get hot and cold here.
Okay. So I just wanted to ask you a little bit about your growing up years, what that looked like. I know that's a very broad question, but I think you also mentioned that you played high school and college sports.
I did. Yeah. It's certainly not at a huge level. I played high school and college football and baseball. I played soccer, but then transitioned into football when I snuck around and got pads on and mom didn't know, that sort of thing. Just kidding. Ended up being the kicker from the soccer background, and then played quarterback in high school. We were 4-6. If coach put me in, we would have won state. Of course, he did put me in, and we went 4-6 actually. So I can't use that excuse. But we had a lot of fun. It was, those teams are pretty amazing. I ended up playing in college. Played a couple years at Mid-American Nazarene University in Olathe, Kansas, which is an NAIA school. Mm-hmm. It was overwhelming to me, at least from a quarterback position, to try and get that playbook, because high school they made it really simple for the soccer guy. And then it was not simple in college. So I switched to tight end there, but also played 3 years of baseball. And then my senior year decided, I don't think I can afford another semester or a year, so I better make sure I get this done. So we made it through.
Nice.
My mother would always send me to my dad when it was time to sign, the waiver for football. She'd say, I'm not going to sign away your life. Go have your dad sign it. So he'd sign it, that. So that
she could blame
familiar.
him.
Yeah, exactly. If she had to push me around in a wheelchair or, something, visit my grave or whatever she had in her mind. But I survived, you survived, I guess. So.
Did you want to start out with your question about?
Well, I guess I was wondering,
Yeah.
I've not known you real well, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to have you on here. We talked one other time, and I follow you on Facebook, and of course, you're part of VO Marketing Pro. Is your wife named Judy?
My mom's name is Judy.
Your
My wife's
mom's
name is Jamie. Yep.
Jamie. Okay. And Judy, your mom just had a birthday, right? I mean, you were on Facebook together. Okay.
Yes. Easter Sunday. She celebrated a birthday. So
okay.
It's great. Where I live is where I grew up. After I went to school in the Midwest, where my wife's from, we moved back here, and my folks live across the river from us. So we could go through the woods and across the river to grandma's house for my kids if we needed to. But it's a blessing to have them so close, and they've been retired and they're so helpful. Like my dad popped over today to help, fix a leaky toilet. It's like, it's just a blessing. And I know that your boys are happy to be so close to you as well. So it's a blessing to have family so close.
It is, especially if your dad's a handyman. I mean, that's like, I'm not handy at all. So that's always nice.
We don't have that luxury.
So you have a daughter, Julianne. Is that her name?
That's true. That is true. She just turned 13.
13, a teenager. Ooh, exciting.
Yeah.
Challenging.
Good times. We just got her a cell phone. So that's been fun.
Nice.
She's the only person in her school, for the last 5 years not to have a cell phone. She's the only one, but now she has one. So.
Yeah.
That's funny because, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and then my son, Gehrig is 10. But
named after Lou Gehrig, I take it.
It is. Yeah. I just love Lou Gehrig's story, growing up, and a big Yankees fan growing up. I know that turns a lot of people off, but I am what I am. My dad raised me right, as he says. I loved Don Mattingly growing up. He was my hero because he was playing when I was young.
Yeah.
But just the history of the Yankees, and just seeing the character and the person of Lou Gehrig and who he was and what he meant to not just the game. He transcended the game. And I somehow my wife agreed, and I absolutely love his name. My wife did not let me name our daughter Julianne Mattingly Grace, which was my contribution. But
well, Hudson is his team won state his senior year, won the state tournament, and he was the player of the year in the conference. He's a very good shortstop. He played third base then, but he was a pitcher. Still plays at a high level. We have home talent, which is it's not a professional league, but it's college and varsity baseball. Men that play that played in high school and college, and so he likes baseball a lot.
Even some guys that got drafted.
Yeah,
a couple guys have played minor league baseball. So there can be a wide spectrum. Some teams maybe aren't as great and don't have guys that have played college level, and then there's some of the bigger towns that have almost all their guys have played some form of college or drafted or stuff like that. So it can range. So
that's awesome. Living the dream, man. I've thought about there's men's leagues here. I'm so busy with the kids and voiceover and other stuff that I'm still like really considering trying to get in the men's league here, just to see if, not that I still have it, but still have a little bit of it, that sort of thing.
And you had a connection. You posted something in Facebook. I thought it was kind of funny, that your son and daughter have a connection with Tom Brady. Is that ringing a bell now?
Yes. we acknowledge the greatness of Tom Brady as much as it pains me to say this, but he retired on my son's birthday, and then I bid all this money on his last touchdown ball. No, I'm just kidding. And then he unretired on my daughter's birthday. I mean, no one else has that weird connection, but that was a funny thing. It's like, Tom Brady continues to troll me even though he has no idea who I am or care. But yeah. Tom trolls everybody that doesn't like him somehow.
Somehow, he's an amazing guy. He sure is.
He's the goat at trolling strangers too.
Yeah. So I was going to ask a couple of questions. You host in the mornings. You host a talk show. Is it a sports talk show, or is it just everything talk show?
It is not. So part of my past, I've been in radio since 2003 part-time, and then 2004 full-time. And at times was a play-by-play announcer. I did 5 seasons for the minor league baseball team here, the Delmarva Shorebirds, from 05 to 09. So 4 years, but 5 seasons in there. But worked in radio full-time throughout that. We launched a sports station in 2010, and the guy I do the show with, who's a very good friend, Whiskey, and the station flipped from rock to a sports, an FM sports talker. And our area doesn't have any pro sports. We're not a big town, but we're close, not far from Philly or DC and Baltimore. And so, we were like, all right, we're going to give this a shot. And then 10 months later, we had to put some kind of legalistic thing where we had to put something in a trust, and 2 stations went away. So we were kind of on the AM dial for a while, and the station wasn't really generating enough to justify. But fortunately for us, the guy on the country station was taking another job elsewhere, and the timing was perfect. So we've done the Whiskey and Radio show almost 11 years as is. And so it's a country morning show. So it's not talk. We do, 5 or 6 breaks an hour, but it's music driven, but we pop in for a couple minutes here and there and have a good time.
Now, Whiskey, I saw a picture of you two, and there's some options here. You're either quite tall and he's not so tall, or you're not so tall and he's very short, or you were on a box or something. What's are you a pretty tall guy?
I'm only 6'1", but I mean, okay. Photoshop's beautiful. No, I'm just kidding. He is not particularly tall, and I am not short. So I mean, we don't quite have like the twins vibe from the good old days there, yeah. Todd. I don't know Hudson gets that reference, but I'm kind of in the middle of you guys.
Yeah.
But Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Not quite there.
Yeah.
But we are very opposite, but we're very close friends, and it's so much fun being able to work with someone that you're basically best friends with. Mm-hmm. And opposites attract, and we complement each other well in there, and that's been a fun stage in life.
I did that with my brother-in-law. He was my best friend, then he became my brother-in-law. We worked for 7 years in the morning on a radio station, and he's opposite of me too. And so it's such a great diversity. You play off of one another. You know how each other's mind work. You have a lot of history. You've got some inside jokes that you can share with people so they can be part of it. I mean, I get that. I think that's probably what you're referencing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's fun. There's often times where we're like, he's like, that was for you. And I'm like, I know, no one else got it, but at least we had fun.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's listening to your personal jokes and conversations and stuff.
Nobody else gets it. Yeah.
I was going to ask you another question about radio.
Sure.
And here's a little bit of an illustration I was thinking about. When I was in my early 20s, I was playing unlimited slow pitch softball, where you throw it as high as you want and it drops down on a mat. I was also playing home talent where Hudson plays. I was playing home talent baseball, fast pitch hardball. And it was tough because it's you're swinging a bat and you're using a glove. And so there's a lot of similarities, but it's a very different sport, very different. And I was wondering about here, I quit doing radio after 30 years, and it took me quite a bit of time to get radio out of me doing voiceover. Not that there aren't any times where you use an announcer type voice, but I was wondering how you do it. You're still in radio every day, and then you've got to go out, and most of the directions now in voiceover are, and you see them, believable, conversational, no announcer, authentic, that kind of stuff. How's that going? How do you deal with that, where it's every morning you're on the radio and then you switch and go voiceover?
I think it was a bit of a challenge right out of the gate, especially because you just think, mic, headphones, whatever it may be. I don't typically use headphones. I think that helps when I do voice work. Some people think that's nuts. I think it helps me be more conversational. But I also feel like I kind of got in the radio when it was more personality driven, as far as like being more real and genuine and living your real life on the air. Mm-hmm. To where, maybe in the golden years of the 70s, 80s, and it was a persona, I got to do this or be this guy. So I think that helped as I kind of got in when things were shifting, because we have conversations in the morning and that are real and genuine and aren't, fabricated. Where, not to say that necessarily was always happening, but there is a big difference between the announcer voice and that sort of thing. So I do think it was very difficult, even though I felt like, hey, I have just conversations every day, but you're still hearing yourself and you're conscious of how you sound and you're not vulnerable. I think really placing yourself into who you are in whether it's a commercial read or brand anthem, feeling the words and expressing those words that you're using. I mean, you know this, but it all started with Bill DeWees's blueprint, and knowing that would have been a challenge right out of the gate, and not knowing how much of a challenge it would be to kind of get past that was interesting. But through coaching and training, I still fall into that. That's kind of my, okay, there's no direction. Here's my, regular read. But I think a lot of it's that, but placing yourself in the right mindset of, okay, who am I talking to? Who am I in this read? Am I selling something? Am I bringing this type of emotion? And just getting in that headspace has been big for me over the last couple years. I joined the Blueprint 2 years ago, and that's when I really started taking voiceover seriously and kind of having it as a side hustle. I think I let you guys know that technically I've been in voiceover for a while because I've had one client for at least 15 years. So technically I can say I am a 15-year veteran.
Better
but when
use
it really
it, yeah.
comes down, yeah, but when it really comes down to it, because it is a turnoff for a lot of people to say, "Oh, this guy's still in radio."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
That was one of my questions, was how did you get that job? Like, did they find you when you did your play-by-play? What was the kind of genre that like, were they wanting you to be a certain announcer? What was the kind of job was it?
Fortunately for me, in 2003, right after I graduated from college, I came home that summer. I worked not as a play-by-play announcer, but an on-field announcer. I helped a guy at church lay carpets, and I ended up getting a part-time job in radio where I work now. The program director at the time said, "Hey, I don't like anybody to get by in the talent pool, so come on in." So he actually gave me a shot, which he put me in a room. He said, "You have 10 minutes to come up with a 30-second weather report or something." And I had gotten into radio in college. We had a campus station where I did play-by-play, but also had like a shift. So I kind of knew what to do, and was hired part-time. Took a job that did not last long back in the Kansas City area. And the day that job came to an end, where they realized it wasn't going to work, that was the day I was supposed to give my interest level back where I live now and work now. So obviously I got really interested all of a sudden from, losing your job at 10 a.m. to making a call at 10:30. Very interested. Yes.
Yes. How interested you got all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And how is it going? I mean, we're trying to be a little transparent and off the cuff here.
Sure.
How is the voiceover business going? What's going on? Can you give us a little bit of an update?
Sure. It's gone really well. So again, I've been a voiceover talent for 15 years, making that very clear with that one client.
Mm-hmm.
But it was actually Bill DeWees reaching out via LinkedIn, or his people reaching out with a couple of messages that really got me thinking. And I was in a weird, not a weird place, but a reflective place, because seeing what has happened in the radio industry over the years and seeing a lot more talented people than me leaving, whether on their own or not, and knowing that it's a changing medium, just realizing, what happens if something were to happen? And I said, that would take my identity. I don't think it's a healthy place to have what you do be who you are. So I just really got thinking, and I talked to my wife about it, and I said, hey, this was actually pre-pandemic. It was kind of as it was happening, but we didn't really think it was going to be more than a couple weeks. So technically I signed on in April. So, but the conversations had started in January of 2020. So that's kind of how I got involved. And then I went all in, probably too fast through the blueprint, because I was jumping in and I was loving every second of it. And I just wanted to soak up as much as I could. And then I started actually making profit, I'd say in the fall of 2020, with a do-it-yourself demo that your previous guest, Mike Halfgoat, helped me with. Nice. I had kind of made some of my own that were okay. My biggest problem was just being different in each read, and trying to fully understand that this needs to be a different sound. So and then I ended up working with Bill DeWees on the pro demo, and got that back late December and in 2020, and then things really started clicking in 2021. So I had a really great first full year. And then this year I've kind of prioritized a little more, trying to set some boundaries. Family's important. And I felt like I was down here way too much, working on my craft, which was good, but also struggling to find that life balance. So I've taken the foot off the gas a little bit. Another reason that I wanted to reach out about VOMP, as I like to call it. I know a lot of people like to call it Voiceover Marketing Pro, to be able to take some of that time that I should be doing direct marketing, and instead having someone who knows what they're doing do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did that this last year. 2 years ago, I made $330,000. This last year, I made $318,000. And the reason is I wanted to help Hudson with his, I wanted to help him with his business. I wanted to help VOMP. And so sometimes you have to make that choice. And it doesn't matter whether you're making $50,000 or $400,000. You have to have that balance. If you were doing great, I mean, if it sounds like you kind of were, so maybe I've answering my own question, but if you started to really make good money, would you transition out of radio? Or is that just like, no, I like radio. I've always done radio. I want to stay in radio. I think I can do both of them as long as I have the balance. Would you continue to be in radio, or how are you thinking about that?
I still love being able to do the type of work that I'm doing in radio. Obviously, you probably remember some of the behind the scenes stuff that's not so fun, but being on the air is still fun. Mm-hmm. I still love working with Whiskey, doing a show together. It's really enjoyable. So it's almost like I wanted to make sure I set a really good foundation in voiceover. And if that were to be the case, that I could make it and still take care of my family. But I still love what I do there, and I love what I do here. So who knows what the future holds? It's not up to me to hold it. I'm controlling what I can control, and just really being prepared for anything. And I think we hadn't thought a lot. I mean, I think you said you worked in Christian radio for a long time, Todd. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And even commercial radio, it's not like in the market we're in, it's not like we're getting rich here. So for many years, I sacrificed future, whether it was retirement, I didn't even think about that stuff. And now being able to put most of my voiceover stuff into our future as a family, basically catching up on what a lot of people wisely, Hudson, listen up, do in their 20s. Start that early, start putting money away, start really thinking about future. It's hard to get out of what do I need right now. So that was kind of what my wife and I kind of have decided with this, is try to live on what we've lived on. And we're both pretty frugal people, which is helpful. So just trying to worry about the future and plan for the future is kind of important, and making sure that we have what we need and a few things we want.
Yeah. Yeah. That's excellent advice. Very good advice. Now you've been with VO Marketing Pro for how long? How long have you been?
I reached out to you, I think, before you were ready for people. I'm trying to remember back, and you kindly wrote, "We're not quite ready." I think it might have even been when we first made contact. I believe it might have been 2020. I think I was trying to figure out what you guys did, and what it would take and that sort of thing. And then I think in 2021 we reconnected, and went from there. And then, I switched kind of into a different realm of what you do, because you offer a few different services and to be a part of your roster. And I'm extremely happy. In fact, today I got the third job from someone I met on Voiceover Marketing Pro. So I don't know how you set that up, guys, but that was a good time.
Continuing work, right? I mean, this person's used you. This is the third time they're using you.
This is the third project. And this is, it's still two clients, but they were happy he was happy. and they were happy. So you love to make people happy and have them come back. It's one of those things where it's like, today was one of those days where you wake up and after a couple hours in your inbox, there's a few jobs and a few other opportunities. That's all you can ask for. It's not, you got to go chase them today. It's okay. I've got a few things that have to be done that are paid or potentially, looking good. Maybe it's a planned audition or an audition where it's down to a few people. So you have a real good shot. And today was one of those days. So that's kind of the goal, to wake up with work in your inbox and opportunities each day, and that you don't have to work too hard to go looking for opportunities. And I think that's why it's important to have a company like yours that you guys have formed to be able to, I talked about setting that foundation in 2021. And I feel like with Voiceover Marketing Pro, that's what it's doing. We're getting a great contact list with warm replies. Trying to keep in touch with them is one of my biggest weaknesses. I've got to get better at following up. I know that's part of what you do as well, which is appreciated. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah. I knew Bill for quite a few years, lot longer than I knew you, but we were starting VO Marketing Pro, off to the side, and you actually got us together. Did you know that? Because you mentioned in the Bill DeWees group, what is VOMP? You said,
that's right.
It was a great, quote, naive question that just said, what's this VOMP people are talking about? And Bill then contacted me and he wanted to know more about it. And so we continued, he promoted it. And then he said, hey, you're doing a good job. Why don't you take over my direct email marketing too? So he's our client now. But that's, we should get some sort of a Bill DeWees finder's fee for Randy. You got to start it together.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I owe a lot to Bill and his team, because I would just be like, oh, that'd probably be cool if I tried it sometime, but I would have no idea where to begin. And even if someone's watching this that's not a part of the blueprint, which I'm sure there are, so many great resources from Bill, even now daily on YouTube. But just taking his blueprint and following it has been just it's a legitimate blueprint to getting a business started. And I'm certainly thankful to have stumbled across and obviously connected with you, and glad to connect you two in that way.
Yeah.
Even though you were connected before.
No, but we really do appreciate it. It kind of opened doors, and I'm glad you made that plug for the blueprint, because Bill is a sponsor of our podcast. He's our podcast voice. And we have links down below of our podcast for Bill and all of his training and stuff, just because we appreciate what he does too. So I'm glad you gave that little plug. That was, he didn't initiate that. We didn't initiate it. It was just natural. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. And it's well beyond Bill. Obviously, Mallory taking care of a lot of his business side and does a session every couple of weeks. Mike Halfcoat, who you just had on, is an incredible coach that, obviously you get that. If you're able to get one-on-one with him, it was great. I've had a few other coaches as well. And I think, you absorb as much as you can from these great minds. And Alex has done a great job setting up my sound. And obviously, Fred kind of running some things as well and having that first conversation. It's interesting. So Bill, Fred's a nice guy too, but it's almost like Fred's there to tell you like it is. It's like Bill's, hey, everything. But Fred will tell you like it is. He's like, all right, do you think you have what this takes? And I appreciated that. I appreciate the fact that they have someone like Fred to, hey, this is how it goes. This is, you could do this.
Yeah.
Or you can't, it is what it is. So it was great. I think his whole team is phenomenal. And again, I owe pretty much my entire voiceover career to that man and his team.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. Hudson, I've I don't have a lot more questions for Randy. Maybe you've got a few there.
Yeah. I wanted to ask him a little bit about platforms and stuff like that. Cause I sent you that little template or whatever, and you didn't say that you use either Upwork, Fiverr. You didn't put those on there, which was fine. Maybe it wasn't the great question, but do you not use Upwork, Fiverr? Do you not use those types of sites?
I am on, because I think the blueprint is one of the things with Fiverr. I don't use it a ton. I use Voice 123, Bidalgo, and Voiceover Planet. So I use a lot of the play-to-plays. You can't obviously build everything on pay-to-plays. I've done well, I think, on there. But again, a lot of it is I love auditioning. I feel like that's where I made great improvement as well. This is just, basically my story. I think I grew just looking at direction from people, and sometimes they'll give you a link of what they're looking for. In addition to all the coaching and that sort of thing, just getting the experience was good for me. It's not great for everybody, I guess, but it worked for me. I got enough jobs to make it well worth the fee, but it can be discouraging to look at how many times you auditioned for something on one of those and how many you won. But I'm extremely happy. It's been about 50% of my business, and most of my contacts came from jobs on those.
Okay.
So that could turn into more direct, and other LinkedIn's been a great source for me as well, just to connect with people. But yeah, I don't use those others very often, but I am on there.
Okay.
So
I was just interested because we had talked to Mike, and I don't know if Mike Hathco, on the last podcast, and he said he doesn't use them at all, which
never
to each his own. Like
just kidding.
Yeah, but it just was interesting to hear his take on it. And I understand, even though I've only been in voiceover for a year, I understand the struggle with, I don't understand the struggle with voices and like Voices 1, 2, 3, because I'm not on there. So like the big cattle call auditions and stuff like that, I haven't really been a part of, but there are a lot of voices on Fiverr, and seems to be a fair amount on Upwork too, which I'm on. So I understand his problem with them. So
yeah, absolutely. I think, like I was saying, it can be really discouraging if you're auditioning for 30 or 40 or 50, and it gets to, I can't remember which one. I had some pretty good success relatively early on, and enough to continue to. It's kind of like, I don't play golf, but whenever I did, 17 of the holes, I'm like, I'm never doing this again. And I have that one good hole. I have one good hole, and I'm like, you know what? I could do this.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So once in a while, you'll get it in the cup at, under par, and be able to kind of go, okay, I can do this. And I've enjoyed it. And again, I've been just reading real scripts, some well written, some not, but just getting that real life experience has been good for me.
Yeah, the practice for some people. I mean, originally that's what Bill would say. ACX, there was no Fiverr, ACX, direct marketing, and voices.com, because you could at least practice. It was worth your time. That's the old days. They don't so much talk about that, but that's kind of what we did back about 10, 12 years ago.
Well, I remember a lot of what Bill said was basically, find a way to be heard. And that was my way of marketing, really. And a lot of people might say that's not a smart way, because you invest time, and time you could be doing it another way, like sending out emails, these sorts of things. But, if you want to be heard, that was my way of trying to get heard and seeing what's out there. And, I haven't considered not doing them. It's going well enough where I'm not going, well, this is a complete waste. Backstage, I have not had, I don't quite understand that. I never really understood Upwork. So, and there's a couple others that, there's a ton out there that you'll see, freelance sites and that sort of thing. But those are the two big ones, Voice 1, 2, 3, and Voices that I've gone after and had some success. So
good for you.
Well, do you have anything else, Dad? I don't think I have a whole lot. Maybe Randy, you have some questions for us. I don't know.
We've only got about 3 minutes here, so.
So we need to get a sponsor so you can get that full Zoom time. That's
Yeah,
what we need to get, right?
exactly. You
Just kidding.
nailed it. You nailed it.
I think, I again, not to just keep plugging Bill, but again, I got to thank him and his team and your team. But I also think it's important to get a lot of other influences, but know who to trust. And I think you figure that out. Sometimes, I've spent money on equipment and this sort of thing that maybe I probably shouldn't have. I've learned some things the hard way, but sometimes that can be the best way. Sometimes that's the only way, sadly. But you just want to get to that point where you're able to look back and go, well, it's kind of foolish, but I'm here now, and I learned from it. And I think there's obvious mistakes you can make in voiceover, and we probably all made them. But just having that, I'm going to make this work no matter what attitude is what I've gone with. And I've had some great influences through Bill and his team and some other coaches, Mark Ryder, Tracy Lindley, a little bit on LinkedIn, Monine, a couple other coaches out there that were great for me. And, they may be great for you. They may not be, but there's some really good voices and influences out there. I think it's important just to take as much as you can from all of those people. There's a lot of people that do this, that know what they're doing. And Todd being one of them, and Hudson, an up and comer as well. So,
I don't give a lot of, I try not to give a lot of advice because, like I said, I'm only a year in, and my dad, I try to soak up as much as I can from my dad because he's listened to Bill and stuff like that. So like you said, Bill has been very,
and your dad has a bit of a good track record right now too. That's been going on. So
exactly.
He's doing all right for himself. So he's a good one to listen to for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Very kind of you. Very kind. Well, we so appreciate you taking time. You've got your radio and you got your voiceover. You got your family. We know you do stuff for charity through the
Your
radio
cats.
and other stuff. Yep. Yeah.
Cats dying on my yard. Is that what you're saying too?
Yes,
I don't even have cats, but 3 have died on my yard in the last 4 years. It's weird.
Sometime we'll get together and trade cat stories. I never really owned a cat, but I lived on a farm, and I've got lots of cat stories, and they're sad and funny at the same time. So.
I know those stories. Well, thanks so much, guys. It was a great opportunity to chat with you, and wish you the best. And thanks for all you do for all of us on Voiceover Marketing Pro.
You too, Randy. Take care.
Stay in touch.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it, folks. That was Randy Scott.
See what I mean? He's a great guy. It's funny. You can tell, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but
go ahead.
When you've been in radio as long as I have, I don't know, there's a kinship you have with other radio people, especially people that get up early in the morning and do the morning show like he and his buddy Whiskey do. And so it's just like, I don't know. I shouldn't say Whiskey. Whiskey and Randy is the name of the show.
Because that's his name.
Yeah. And he mentioned it too. So yeah, but it's just always fun to listen. Guys that are on radio have these little quips, these quick quips and zingers and stuff like that. And you fit it into a little sound bites because you have to do it between records and as you do the bumper for the next program and stuff. So he was fun to talk to.
Yeah, he definitely was. Next, we have our numbers: VOMP, Todd's, and mine. Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome back to the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast. This is our third segment, and this is where we talk about our numbers. VOMP numbers, my numbers, and Dad's numbers. We have Drew and John here on the couch potatoes, and we've got our couch cam. So it's right over there. They can wave to it. So now you've got faces with the voices. So
yeah, no more floating voices.
Just going to talk about these real quick. Once again, these are from our friend Mike Hathcote. He runs VO Merch. You can go to vomerch.com and get all things voiceover related for like shirts,
water bottles,
waddle bottles. That's a new one. Mike put it in there. Water bottles, mugs, and like some carrying bags, all sorts of things. Mouse pads. They've got it. So that's Mike Hathcote.
Yeah, we're just all into helping other businesses. That's what we're just all about that. Starting businesses and helping other businesses. I got a call today. I've been just wildly busy today, and I'll talk about it in just a few minutes. But so I'm busy. And then I get a call, and I can tell, I look down and my phone is off because I'm recording, but it's a like 13 numbers. So I know it's overseas, and it's a gentleman from Saudi Arabia, and he wants me to do a 10-minute voiceover job as soon as possible. And I'm so busy, I just said, well, I'd really like to, but I better not. And so he kept insisting. And I said, well, maybe you could just tell me a little bit about it. 10 minutes. He said, what would you charge? I said, well, if it was e-learning, I'd probably charge, I just thought, I'll charge $300. And I said, but it's a corporate. So I said, well, how about $500 to $600? And I thought he would just be gone. He said, well, that sounds fine. So I'm waiting on that script. And
can't really pass that up when it's that.
Yeah, I mean,
good.
That's a pretty good deal. And then I was thinking about, see, we live here in a little town northwest of Madison, Wisconsin.
And when you mean small, it's 1,600 people.
Yeah.
So it's not like some people think 50,000 is a real
right.
small town.
Right.
This is really small.
But we have 2 new businesses in town, and one is a friend of ours. I mean, let's see, Joe from VO Marketing Pro, and he graduated with
Joe.
Aaron, right?
Yeah, Joe and Aaron were in the same class. And then his younger brother, Cal, is one of my good friends.
Yeah.
So
And Aaron Handel is the owner of, what's the name of it?
Handlebar Performance.
Handlebar Performance, which is kind of a four-wheeler,
ATV, all sorts
type
of things like that.
thing. And then we just got a new coffee house in Mazomanie. It's called 1855 Coffee House. And so I'm looking forward to stopping down there and getting some coffee sometime.
I'll have to
They
try
got
it
breakfast foods and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what else. I guess we're talking about food. John, you had an incident with pizza. Was that just? It was on Easter Sunday, right? What happened?
Yeah.
Let's see. We ordered from Pizza Hut.
Yeah, we were gonna go real Easter food, traditional food, and get Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
And I had looked online because sometimes, you look online and they'll say hours will vary during holidays, and this one looked to be the real deal, and it was gonna open at 4:00. So I ordered the pizzas. It went, the order went through and all that kind of stuff, and drove up to Sauk, which is where the first Culver's. So if anybody's familiar with that,
Wow.
That's a
can't go wrong with a Butterburger
Yeah.
Culver's. Anyway, so we went up there and went to the door or to the drive-through, and could tell that it was closed. And
All the lights were off.
Yeah. So anyway, we had to punt and get what did we get? McDonald's.
Mac Diesel,
McDonald's on Easter. Great.
which is always good, like 3 or 4 times a year. So it was we were perfect timing. So
So what happened?
So then I called the next day, and they said the manager that was supposed to open up had a unforeseen family emergency and couldn't open up the store. So they directed me to the regional office in Madison, and they apologized and said that they would refund the money. So I gave them my information, and then they said they would give me some coupons, and I received those in the mail today.
what were they?
3 free pizzas.
Wow.
Large pizzas, and a free appetizer or an appetizer.
Appetizer.
I don't know exactly what that, because I don't know if I've gotten really many appetizers from
Would that be like the
pizza.
wings?
Probably
or
the wings. Yep.
Hopefully it's not just like celery and stuff like that. That'd
Yeah,
be a rotten deal.
So we
Here's
were
some
only
free
going to
celery.
order 3.
Yeah,
And we
so
got
they
3
basically
pizzas plus appetizers.
Yeah, they basically gave back the money and then gave 3. I told Joe I should have ordered a lot of pizzas and just gone, and maybe I should do that in the future just to see maybe if they're closed.
Have one of us work there so that we can not come in.
Yeah.
And then you get
That's
free.
going on.
That's smart. That's you're winning there. I think that's a winning formula.
It's going a long way around.
Yeah,
There's
that's a
7
big
of us.
commitment for 3 free pizzas.
But that's what a lot.
Well, it could be more.
True.
But that's what businesses should do. I mean, that's what I was saying. If you own a business and run a business and that something like that happens, you should go out. I wonder how many people ordered. That's the question.
It didn't sound like I was the only one. Let's just say that. And Culver's was closed in Sauk, the main hub. And so I wonder if they didn't get more people coming thinking that that was maybe one places that you could do carry out
Yeah.
in Sauk. Because Sauk isn't a huge town either. It's
Yeah.
bigger than us, but that's not that hard to be bigger than us. So I'm sure that there was plenty of people that got some free pizzas and appetizers. So
when are we going to get the pizzas? Do we know? What night here?
tomorrow, hopefully the near future.
Hopefully they'll be open.
Yeah.
Let's not wait for another major holiday.
Yeah.
Well, do we want to get into our numbers?
Sure.
All right. Why don't you start with us, John? Since
All right.
You've got the VOMP numbers, and that's what everybody cares about.
You bet. Okay, so we had 29 warm replies this week, 12 auditions, and 11 jobs.
Oh, my.
And that is a record, right?
It's close. It's got to be close.
Yeah.
11 jobs.
Yeah, it seems right. Yeah.
Because, I
know.
I thought we had 8 one time, maybe?
Yeah. Something
11,
like
that's
that.
great.
Yeah, and again, we didn't, like I'd said last Friday's podcast, that we are always trying to make sure we send out emails at the most opportune times for everyone. And we didn't send out on Monday just because people are coming back in from the long weekend, and we didn't want to be just another number that was email that was deleted. So we waited till Tuesday. So I'll just name off the people. A couple of them include you and Hudson in the jobs. But I will read off the others. Tyler Boss got one. Kim Wilson. Christine Brito got 3 this week.
Wow.
Noel Romano and Randy Scott. And then, like I said, Hudson and
How many did Dad get? 3 then?
3 I got. 3.
I had actually 2 last week, right at the end of the day on Friday,
Yeah, so we
and
didn't
it was too
include
late
that,
to
so-
include it. And then I got 1 today. So I had 3 that we didn't report.
We kind of begin our week after the podcast, is
Yeah.
we'll just say that. So that
Yeah.
because we don't report it. So
Yeah.
and I just wanted to say, one reason why we like to post your numbers on Facebook is not to gloat or anything like that, but it's more so just to encourage people that you've been doing this for a while, and so it's the long form, long haul game, and it's proving that it works. Sorry, yep, email marketing. Yeah, to be clear, it's proving that it works over time, and that's why we do it. It's not to be in your face about it. That's why we do it on our Facebook page, and so that's important. I think,
And
That's why.
and you guys and us, we're genuinely happy for those people. It's not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
of
not
course.
we got to send that out because it's our group. We're happy for those people because we obviously want to see people do well.
Yeah, and isn't it true, too, that you see some of the same names, and those people are talented. And I get a lot of jobs, too, from direct email marketing. But like I go on record saying, it's not like I'm the most talented. It's just that I've been doing direct email marketing for 12 years now. And so it gets to be kind of a snowball, thing.
Yep.
And so, yeah, some of the same people, you hear them all the time that they're getting it, these jobs, because in all honesty, they're sending out lots of emails
and have been in it.
and have been doing it for a year or so, or a little better.
Yep.
Either one of you, can you guys answer what's going on, one or both of you, what's going on with the voice roster, our website? Anybody want to take a crack on, or is that just kind of still?
I mean, you shared some of you've been going back and forth a little bit with the individual that's been working on it. So you probably actually have the most up-to-date information on that. So
Yeah, so it's taken a while just because I think there's a lot to go in it. It's a smaller company, and we've liked working with him, and it's kind of an undertaking because he set it up for like one individual website, voiceover website. I think he's done it for a few of them, but just for one individual one, and we're asking him basically to come in and set it up for kind of an agency roster kind of thing. And so it's new to him, but he's it sounds like we're going to get something from him this week this weekend as to what it's going to look like. And I don't know if that's going to come in the form of kind of a video kind of showing what it looks like kind of in the beta format of it, or if it'll be an email, or how it will all look. But we're getting closer, and we're looking forward to that because it's another way to market people, and Drew does that cold calling for them, and it'll be a way to get in front of people saying, hey, it's not just calling Joe anymore to get in contact or emailing Joe. You can definitely do that, but there's also a way to buy or purchase the voice on the actual website, on our actual website, and we're looking forward to that. I think that'll be nice.
Yeah, that'll be
ease
more
of use.
seamless, won't it? Hey, before I give you, let's see, you gave all your numbers there?
Yeah, I gave them all, and I didn't include...
Swing
I
that
don't believe,
microphone there.
Sorry, forget
all
about
right.
that. Yeah, I gave all the numbers.
By the way, our next purchase is another microphone.
Yeah.
We've got to get another.
We're not
have
good
to.
at sharing.
Yeah.
No.
So what was I saying? Oh, I'm going to... I don't think I included yours. I could included the jobs just simply because that's what I posted and things like that, and that's the easiest way for me to keep track of it. It's your numbers now.
Mine or yours?
Go ahead, Dad.
Okay. My platforms this week were $1,132, and my direct email marketing was $3,323, with a total of $4,455. But, and I'll just do some added comments here. I had 3 new clients, as we've already communicated, 2 auditions, 2 warm replies. But I have a two huge projects from the same client, e-learning projects that I'm already booking another $3,500 that kind of came in this week, but I'm still in the process of doing it, and so that's going to come next week. So unless things just totally drop off next week, I probably will have a fairly large.
One thing that I'll say off of that is just that's what we're posting is your new clients when we post to Facebook, just as a little caveat.
It's not
It's not returning
clients that you're
clients.
getting jobs from.
Yeah, right. These are all new clients, correct.
Same with mine.
And I just have to say one other thing, and it might sound like bragging, but it's the first time in 12 years I've had some regional commercials, but I booked a national commercial, and I can't say a whole lot about it, but we'll see. I'll let you know more about it in the coming weeks, because it's still in the process. There's lots of things they have to do. I've done multiple reads, and they've had to, keep having more reads and lower the number of people in the pool, and then they finally chose me. So we'll see what happens in the next few weeks.
That's going to lead to you're just going to be.
I'm going to
Mr.
blow up. It's probably just blow up.
You and Morgan Freeman will probably be fighting for jobs, I would think.
I would imagine they'll probably start saying, can you sound like Todd Barsness? That's what all of the because when you get things now, it says, can you do a Morgan Freeman or a Mike Rowe or the guy that was on The Office?
Steve Carell?
Oh, John Krasinski.
John Krasinski. He's got one of those real casual, laid back, kind of a
And
little bit smart
they'll hear
aleck.
your demo and they'll say, yeah, I think I can sound like him.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people are like, when they
I
hear,
can't sound like
I
Morgan
can't sound like
Freeman.
Morgan, but I can sound like this guy.
Todd
I can
Barsness
sound like
easily.
this guy.
I can sound better than Todd Barsness.
You might work with Magnum PI again.
Yeah.
Tom Selleck.
Yeah,
Tom
I had.
Selleck,
Yeah, I
yeah.
had. Yeah, Tom Selleck. I always fool around saying that Tom and I did commercials together. Of course, he did the on-camera stuff, and then they just needed some peon like me to do some tags for him. But, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Got to have your glory as best as you can get.
Sounds like Dad's Culver story, but we won't get into that. Anyway, my numbers for this week are, my platform numbers were, I did $152, so I had 2 jobs on Fiverr, and then I did 8 PowerPoints on Upwork, and then I had 3 warm responses, and then I had 1 new client, as John said, and I actually got work from an old client that I hadn't heard from for a while and hadn't been doing so many videos with me anymore, but he sent me something, so shout out to Sean if you're watching. I know he watches the podcast, so thanks for the job. Much appreciated. And so altogether this week, along with $140 from editing, I did $372. So
Moving on up.
just
Yeah.
leaps and bounds.
Yeah. And you're going to be doing a lot of editing
Yeah,
for
a
me.
lot of editing
in the
next week for you.
Yeah. The next few days.
Yeah. So, and then also I had another client out of the UK that got a hold of me, and they want to use me again. And so there's still some details going on about that. So I haven't completely figured that out yet, but they're going to use me. So that'll probably be next week, hopefully. So that'll be added to my numbers next week.
And then the next week you're going on a big trip, and we won't get into that, but we'll tell more about that. I think next
probably
week, right?
next week we'll do that. So, well, do you guys have anything else, or
we just wanted to make sure we introduced the couch potatoes and couch cam, and we'll keep maybe adding some people. I don't know where we'll put them back there. I don't know.
Adding people,
maybe more brothers will come.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Joe and. Who knows,
not that
Deshaun?
you're not adding any more brothers.
No,
the brothers we have.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. That's
right.
Yep. Nope. We're good to go.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thanks again for watching the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast. Thanks, Drew and John, for coming on. Dad, as always, thanks. And we will see you guys later. Peace.